Go for it.
So, this comes straight out of GamesRadar.com, written by Connor Shredden. Borderlands 3 microtransactions are coming, but they won't be pay to win. The Borderlands 3 gameplay reveal was exciting. We picked out 23 things worth geeking out about in our Borderlands 3 preview. And you couldn't tell that Gearbox boss Randy Pitchford was excited too. Maybe a little too excited, as that he said about Borderlands 3 microtransactions not existing is untrue by all but the most narrow definitions. Quote, we're gonna do some kick-ass campaign DLC, Pitchford announced on stage. Quote, and I'm sure we're going to do all kinds of fun customizations like heads and skins, but we're not going to do any of the free-to-play junk. That's not going to be any microtransactions. There's not going to be any of that nonsense. Borderlands 3 creative director Paul Sage clarified in an interview with PC Gamer that there will, in fact, be some of that nonsense, but probably not the kind you're dreading. Rather than paying for loot boxes full of powerful gear, players will be able to buy cosmetic items like skins, heads, and auxiliary equipment. Borderlands 3 will receive the usual assortment of post-launch campaign expansion DLC, just in case you classify that as a microtransaction too. Modern minigame terminology is weird.
So I want to point something out before we continue on with this thread. The microtransactions, quote unquote, in Borderlands 3 are going to be no different than the ones that are in Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you didn't play Borderlands 2 or the pre-sequel, the way that those work is that you can buy, I don't remember what the fucking keys are called, but you can buy these keys, these golden
shift keys. Yeah.
Shift keys, thank you.
Yeah.
You can buy shift keys to open up a chest to get skins and stuff. Now, you can earn skins via the game regularly, like you don't have to do that. And they give away these shift keys all the goddamn time on social media.
Mm-hmm.
I literally have never bought a fucking shift key, and I have a shit ton of skins because of the way that it's handled.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to clarify, the type of microtransaction that Randy Pitchford is talking about are the $2, $3, $4 little microtransactions you can get in other games. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, and the thing I wanted to bring up was not only this, but just Randy Pitchford himself recently just his instant response, because this is an article that was also posted by Game Informer, although given Game Informer had a bit more of a clickbaity title when they posted their article regarding it, and Randy kind of took that personal.
Yeah, genuinely hated that article.
And Randy took it pretty personal and just started calling them out on Twitter. Had this online internet rage between him and Game Informer. And
like that, aside from him arguing with the voice of Claptrap.
Yeah, that was another issue recently as well.
That's actually been a thing for a hot minute. Like
but they're at it again.
Yeah,
it's funny. So I don't know. I think he misspoke. But while people are interpreting it like wrong, like then with that article coming out, it's just like
also
so he's trying to defend himself.
I wouldn't say he misspoke as much as he spoke in what he thought was accurate. What I mean by that is he thought he was saying, the microtransactions he was talking about were different than what everyone else thinks about. That's where the problem lies. So I don't think it was a misspeak as much as it was just a misunderstanding.
Yeah, and I feel like, because he felt like he took it personally, he went 0 to 60 just like.
That's Randy for you.
Yeah.
That just sounds like that's just the type of guy he is.
Yeah. At the same time, though, you are one of the bosses or the boss of Gearbox, and you're
I agree with.
Yeah. So you first off, I would say, Randy, please stop tweeting. Just let a PR person handle it and just silently deal with your issues off the internet, because you're taking away the focus of what Borderlands 3 and what everybody's excited about from that to what you're tweeting about and what your issues are publicly, which makes you look bad and Gearbox bad.
Yeah, here's the funniest part to me, Anthony. we all know Borderlands 3 is going to be fucking awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, the shit they showed on May 1st, with like half the other shit that like devs have talked about, with the content we've seen just in the trailer, like we know it's going to be badass. But holy shit, I've never seen a game that we know is going to be badass, that's hyped as fuck, have this much goddamn controversy around it.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like, it's almost Anthem level of fucking controversy.
Which is weird. It's like the opposite. It's like,
but even then though, like what the controversy is coming from somebody who doesn't know when to shut up. You know what I mean? It's
I would say
you know what I mean?
From him per se, it was the fact that the game is going to be exclusive to Epic. That's also a thing too. Now I would argue that he added to the controversy by not shutting the fuck up on Twitter. But like every fucking time this game's brought up, there's something new the internet just loses their goddamn mind over.
Yeah.
And the thing that drives me fucking nuts is like it being on the Epic Store is not a problem. People like to make it a problem because they don't like the Epic Store for some stupid ass fucking reason. Which have been all pointed out to be fucking false, or the reasons why I should say that they hate it. The microtransaction comment, like, look into what it is first, which Game Informer did not do. Game Informer pulled a full on fucking Jim Sterling on that shit.
Yeah.
It's the whole situation to me, and we talked about this in the pre-show, of how all these comic book fans knew that, not to trust Mysterio, but that a clip is shown of him saying that the MCU is the 616 universe and everyone losing their goddamn minds when they have read the comics.
Yeah.
It's the same situation. It's like the Game Informer article was making a mountain out of a molehill on the fucking microtransactions angle. and Randy was like, I'm hurt. I've trusted these magazines.
Well, I mean, like even
you absolutely should. I'm not in Randy's camp of like fighting that guy because it was not worth it.
Yeah. Well, even then, have you thought about maybe the fact of like, okay, he's been doing games for like a very, very long time, right? And like you said, like going through like Borderlands 2, like that wasn't considered a micro transaction back then. It was DLC. So maybe it's just like, okay, well, in his mind, it's like, okay, well, now microtransaction basically means DLC, and he put it out. He said that, but meaning like DLC type of thing. You know what I mean? Like he's not caught up with the like times. Maybe like a little bit of that.
It's possible, but I wouldn't put too much stake into that just because, what he had to deal with Battleborn. I think changed his outlook on that shit big time.
Oh yeah. I forgot about Battleborn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I also think that Battleborn is the reason that he's so defensive on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Not
shit on Battleborn.
Yeah, and not to mention like Gearbox themselves has been through the ringer as of late, and it seems like the recent releases of whatever games they've worked on have not done well for them. So there's a feeling that Borderlands 3 is kind of their last hope, essentially. That hopefully this will steer them in the right direction, gain them profit, and put the Gearbox back on good graces with everybody. So
yeah,
you could definitely see that Randy's a bit on edge, and
that's perfectly like understandable. Like given the history of the games that have came out from them in the past few years.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. The one thing that I think a lot of people need to take away from this whole situation, at least my takeaway, is that Gearbox has been very adamant about no such thing as crunch for this game. That they it took 7 years for this game to come out because they were making sure that their employees were well taken care of.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like even from the stuff that we were shown, it looks like you could pick up and play it tomorrow. Like it looks so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, the game looks great. We're all excited for it. It's just there's a lot of namely thanks to Randy, but there's a lot of controversy around it, one way or the other. So
yeah, well, I mean, even then, that's like, yeah, like it probably doesn't look good like overall, but there's no such thing as
bad publicity.
Yes, exactly.
There's two things I want to point out real quick about this whole scenario. Damn it, I had it in my head. We were just fucking mentioning it a second ago. That's what it was. We live in a news cycle of like every little thing is a big deal. And I think that's something that is going to be a problem with high-profile games from here on out. That's nothing. This is a fucking majorly high-profile game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So like, I expect the next big game for this to be another thing, especially I don't know if we're getting another one on this kind of scale like for a while, but like, Destiny 3 is coming out. Watch all this shit happen again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just think it's just blown up so much just because, like I had said before, it's this high profile guy who's shooting off at the mouth, and then he's already got wasn't there like a lawsuit against him from the I think that's still going on.
He's got another lawsuit against him of like a former employer suing him for millions or stealing money from him.
It's funny to me.
So I mean, I just think it's blowing up a lot more because he's known to freak out. He's freaked out before, and here we are again in the same position in a way.
When you look at what he's freaking out over, he just cares a lot about his fucking.
I definitely get that. Yeah,
I don't know. It is what it is. My word of advice to anyone who listens to this podcast: ignore the fucking media cycle about the game. The microtransactions are not a big deal in any way, shape, or form. They're not going to affect the gameplay in any way, shape, or form. They never have. They never will. And just don't pay close attention to what Randy says. Like, he's just the CEO of the company. He didn't fucking develop shit.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I'm pretty sure at some point in his life he did develop shit. So.
I think actually it's kind of cool in a way to see somebody who's in that actual position be so passionate about a product that's coming out. How often do we hear from the CEO of whatever game that's coming out and just be like, oh hey, like it's coming out, I'm like retweet everything, but I'm not actually going to engage with my audience or engage with social media whatsoever. At least he's being like, no, I'm going to defend my product because I believe in it and I want it to be awesome. It's going to be awesome.
I understand the setup.
I just want to point out this as well. Imagine being that passionate about a product and it's announced that it's going to be exclusive to Epic for 6 months. Which, again, fucking stupid that people are mad about it.
Well, even then, though, like that only affects PC players.
It barely affects PC players because
barely.
Does it barely affect them? But the thing is imagine being this passionate and excited about a game that's coming out, a franchise that has been this well loved, and then having everyone on Twitter every time you talk about the game at all just going, what about Epic? What about Epic? Because let's be honest, that's all Twitter is negativity.
Yeah.
It's I'll buy the game in April, blah, 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 blah. It's like you have to at a point understand where his vitriol is coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah. But I mean, I completely get like where he's coming from. Like I don't look down upon him or, his company. Like I could say maybe to be a little bit more reserved with things, but overall I don't think he's in the wrong.
Yeah, but at the same time, there are ways to voice your thoughts in a more professional manner.
Yeah, definitely a way of handling issues and stuff like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
So,
and I agree with that.
Yeah.